Congratulations to each of our nominees. Thank you for your willingness to continue to serve the country. Because I chair the European Affairs Subcommittee, I'm going to focus my questions on you, Ambassador O'Brien, and Ms. Reyes. And Ambassador O'Brien, I understand that you were in Tbilisi recently to look at the sanctions implementation. Can you give us an update on what's happening currently in Georgia with respect to the Russia sanctions?
Yes, and I look forward to working with you on this issue and other issues in Georgia and around the region. I really appreciate your leadership, and it'll be very important as we go forward. I was in Tbilisi along with my EU and UK counterparts, so we presented a united front. I think there's some very encouraging news in that the Georgian customs authorities are taking real steps to restrict the most battlefield relevant items from being transshipped to Russia. What we want to do is make sure that they have complete control over movements across the Georgian border, whether it's by airfields or by the road border. And so that's continuing work, and there's a lot of assistance being provided to that. But they've been good partners at being transparent about what they see. And the question now is, can we get better data going forward? And can we have a clear eye on what's happening with the air flights that have resumed recently between Georgia and Russia?
So the resumption of those flights, are we concerned that that's going to have provide an ability to evade sanctions?
I wouldn't say concerned, but it's clearly a possibility. And so we want to make sure we know what is going on those planes on their way back to Russia.
And ahead of the elections next year, what can be done to engage the Georgian government further to strengthen their institutions?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as you know, the U.S. Designated a set of judges who were, I think, notorious within Georgia for control of the judicial system. This is one of the first requirements for Georgia to make progress toward its European perspective. So we're working closely with the European Union and have made clear to the Georgian government that improvements on the appointment, disciplining, and monitoring of judges is a key area for making progress. More broadly, I met this week with a group of civil society activists from Georgia. It's one of the most vibrant groups in the world. I'm sure you all saw the same set of people. They embody the commitment of the Georgian people. More than 90% of the Georgian people say they want to be part of Europe. There's no polarization on that. And what has to happen is the group of economic interests behind the government need to be made aware that the reforms necessary to join Europe are in fact where the country is moving. So we're working with our European colleagues to make clear that the conditions they have set are also reflected in our assistance and in our conditions, and that we need to see progress on these over the next months. The fall will be critical because of the report that will come from the European Council.
That's a mixed report, but has some encouraging news in there. I want to move to the Balkans now because, as you pointed out, you did a lot of work in Bosnia-Herzegovina in particular. And I wonder if, given Milorad Dodik's increased level of rhetoric against a united country, are we concerned that that will endanger the renewal of EUFOR at the United Nations? And what more can we do to address what Dodik is doing?
I think, and this is something we should discuss in another setting as well, but Milorad Dodik controls the government in a part of Bosnia. He wants to control the resources and all of the patronage that flow from those resources in that area. So we have the ability to reduce his control over the money. That is partly what is causing him to challenge the state processes. I think with our European colleagues, with the High Representative for Dayton implementation, We are making clear to him that what he's doing is unacceptable, that there will be clear consequences for it, and that he needs to start stepping back from these postures. The military force that is there is critical for security. I think we have made clear throughout that it is there under EUFOR or as NATO. It's there in some capacity no matter what, and its presence is essential.
Thank you. Madam Chair, can I ask one more question of Ms. Reyes? Croatia is one of three constituent peoples in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Croatia plays an important role, I think, in sustaining peace in the country. Can you discuss how you would work with the Croatian government to encourage a continued positive force in terms of what happens in Bosnia-Herzegovina?
Well, I appreciate that question, Senator. The U.S. remains committed, as you know, to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Bosnia-Herzegovina, and obviously to the Dayton Accord framework of one country, two entities, and three constituencies. And if confirmed, I will work with the Croatian government to engage Bosnian Croats and their counterparts to support their governance reform. So, you know, I would be that conduit between the Croatian government and the Croats in Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator.